All right, welcome to Woodshop 101 podcast. We're an audio podcast geared toward the hobby weekend woodworker. It's going to be hosted by myself, Chairman Crawford, and Drew Short. Drew, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, Jeremy. Nice to be here, man.
Yeah. So, Drew, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of, what makes you tick?
Well, let's see. Like you said, my name is Drew Short. I live in Moore, Oklahoma. That's the site of that big F5 tornado that blew through here. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a wife of 8 years. I'm pretty much a born and bred Okie. I haven't really left the state, so I'm pretty rooted to this state. Let's see. I've been into woodworking for ever since junior high. Really, I took woodshop in junior high, and it didn't really, turn into anything big until I got married. And probably about the first 6 months of being married is when my woodworking kind of really took off, and I got some tools from my wife's granddad, and he wasn't able to do it anymore, so he just kind of gave me a whole bunch of stuff, including a table saw. So I was pretty ecstatic about that, and my woodworking just kind of spawned into what you see now. So that's pretty much it. My family life and woodworking kind of keep me busy along with my 40-hour work week job.
I understand that. Work keeps me busy. So kind of introduce myself. I'm Jeremy Crawford. I am actually active duty Coast Guard. Been in going on 10 years now. I got a 4.5-year-old son, and then I got a 4-week-old daughter. Got a wife. We're pushing on our 9-year anniversary right now. Just talking about it today, and it just seems like yesterday we were getting married. Time flies. I'm originally from Odessa, Texas. Born and bred Texan. I'm the epitome of every Texan, Let's see. I've lived in New York City. I've lived in Virginia. Traveled all around the world. I've probably been to 50 plus different countries. Besides working and doing that, I'm in the shop pretty much every day, whether it's to sweep or to work on a project. I got a lot of things going on and just add more to my plate. So that's kind of who I am. Drew, tell us about Rockin' H. Kind of what's your business like? What's your goals, aspirations, and kind of where do you see yourself?
Well, Rockin' H basically started as a craft show business back in 2006. I started doing craft shows when I got all my woodworking equipment. And at that time, it was Rockin' H Primitives, I think is what I named it. And I was just building primitive style furniture because that's what my wife was into at the time. So I built a whole bunch of things that were really rustic and primitive and did a whole bunch of craft shows. And that kind of got to be not fun. I had to build so much stuff. It got to be really old. So after taking a little bit of a hiatus from that, I just started doing custom work for people, building kitchen cabinetry or just standalone furniture pieces that you can't get off the shelf. And once I did that, I started looking for inspiration on the internet and found a few YouTube woodworkers out there like Mark Spagnolo, the Wood Whisperer, and Steve Ramsey, and a whole bunch of others as time went on. And I'd always wanted to be, in front of the camera like that, and that just kind of sparked my interest and said, I can do that. So I started Rockin' H Woodshop podcast and video blog, whatever you want to call it. I started that in 2013 in April, I believe. So I'm fixing to hit my 2nd year mark this April. And I've done probably, I think I just posted my 100th video last week. So I've got quite a bit of inspiration on my channel, and I've amassed roughly about 22, almost 23,000 subscribers in that short amount of time. So I've been very fortunate, and I've also acquired a couple sponsors. So this has actually been a really good year for me, and I hope 2015 actually is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I hear that. And in fact, Rockin' H kind of sounds pretty similar to how I got started. I remember growing up as a little boy and going out to my grandfather's shop, and I mean, it may be hard to believe, but his shop put Mark Spagnolo's to shame. I mean, he had like a 2-story shop, like 3,000 square feet, and I remember spending time in there with him, and when he passed away, about 5 or 6 years ago, I got pretty much all of his tools and then bought some of my own. And I think that Christmas I actually bought a table saw. And I got started pretty much in the craft business and kind of making crosses for people and just making small knickknacks around the house. And somewhere about 2012 is when I went official with the business, and I moved more into furniture, custom furniture. And in fact, my business around here is pretty known for tables. I've tried to probably do 3 or 4 tables a year for customers as far as dining. I do a few others a year for like sofa tables and coffee tables, stuff like that. Somewhere about a year ago, I've really decided that I would like to get more into the YouTube world, woodworking / education. I really started off with I was just going to do a blog and a website, and so I got quite a bit, put up on my website. And then, your 100 videos definitely exceeds my 4 that I have up. It's hard with the amount of customer base that I'm having right now to actually get videos out. And so I think how I'm going to actually model my future videos or business is kind of do like 2 projects or 2 videos a month, whether it be something on the lathe, something small, and then maybe about 3 projects a year. Try to film a bigger items like making a table, rocking chair, kitchen island, something like that. So I've kind of taken a hiatus through the holidays. We've been talking about this. I've been trying to get everything lined up for this, and it's just gobs amount of work and figuring out hosting and how to get it sent over to iTunes, and then trying to get a recorder to work. And so now that the new year started, I'm really hoping to get back into it, post more content as things kind of settle down. So that's kind of where I am as a business, and kind of where I hope to see myself in the next year. So let's kind of talk about why we decided to do this podcast, kind of how it came about, and why you decided to jump on board with it.
Oh, well, I mean, anytime that I can share, whether it be on an audio level like this or video like on YouTube, I mean, I'm more than willing to just to give any kind of knowledge that I have, because I know I don't know it all. There's always somebody out there that knows more, and there's probably hundreds of people out there that know more. I think everybody has their own way of finding new ways of doing things, whether it be in woodworking or home improvement or anything like that. But since we're kind of focusing on the woodworking aspect of it, there are a lot of people out there that like to do DIY projects, and fortunately, woodworking is really encompassing a lot of those DIY tasks. So if you don't know your way around a table saw or a miter saw, anything like that, you're not going to get very far. And if you have to call somebody to do something that you can do yourself, it's I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me to have to pay somebody else to do something you can already do.
Yeah.
So I'm always willing to just front any information I can.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. The idea has been in my head for a while to do an audio podcast. I listened to the probably 5 or 6 different audio podcasts. Wood Talk. Listened to Making It with Bob Claggett and David Picciuto, and then I listened to 360 Woodworking, and then there's a few others I listen to, and I find it peaceful when I'm driving to work or here or there. I could listen to some music, or I can listen to something that is live entertainment, and I could learn something from. And so I kind of felt like, outside of the video aspect, a lot of people don't have enough time in their day to watch all these videos that come out from all these YouTube woodworkers and everybody else. So let's do something a little different. Let's give somebody another option, and let's add just an audio podcast to it, something that they can listen to driving down the road or while they're sitting at work, and it's playing in the background.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like you. Anytime I can pass out information, like my grandfather did me, and kind of how I stumbled onto Mark Spagnolo and then Shannon Rogers and Matt Vanderlist, and then it just tumbled from there to Steve Ramsey and on down the line. If I can be an inspiration to that, and people look up to you or I and contact us for information. That just makes me feel good to help somebody.
Oh yeah.
So kind of we kind of are at a point where we kind of introduce ourselves and we're talking about where we're at, and so kind of what's going on in your shop. Let's kind of talk what's going on in our lives, like right this moment.
Well, at this exact moment, I just recently finished up a YouTube video for a pocket hole plywood cart, like a storage cart with a scrap bin side. I mean, it's got multiple bins for scraps, cut-offs of the table saw and things like that. I'd been working on that all day Saturday, which was yesterday, and didn't get finished. I actually had to pick it back up today. My wife was at work, so my 3-year-old was... I was having to do double duty. I was having to finish that and play with her at the same time. And she likes to watch movies, fortunately, and that kind of helps, although that kind of sounds like bad parenting. Just park your kid in front of the TV. They'll be okay. And
I agree. My 4.5-year-old likes to watch movies, so if I can get something done throughout the day and let him watch a movie, so be it.
It seems like that's the only way I can get something done right now is if my wife's out working is I'd have to park her in front of the TV. Now, please don't judge me for that.
But there's not a parent out there that doesn't let their kid watch TV at some point because they got to do something.
But that allowed me to finish this cart, and good God, that was a lot of pocket holes. I probably put upwards of 97 pockets in that thing, and I started with 100 count screws and I was left with 7, so I guess that was 93 pockets. That was a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's where you might want to get into that Craig Foreman.
Yeah, I even made a comment on it, like I was talking to Jay Bates because he's got one recently, and I just made a comment saying, Jay, can you send me your Foreman for just a bit?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of pocket holes, and if you've never used a Craig jig before, you don't really realize how many pocket holes that is and how much time it takes.
Mm-hmm. And it runs through batteries like none other too.
Oh yeah.
I had to keep 3 or 4 charged just to get through it.
Well, I mean, most of my construction I do is either pocket holes or dowel joinery, and man, just doing. I think I got a table sitting in here, and it's only halfway done, and I already have over 100 dowel joints in there, so that's that's over 100 holes
Whew.
to drill. So it runs through just like that Craig jig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been on my plate for a couple days now. I've been meaning to get to doing it or starting it during the week, and I just had a hard time. I had a hard time getting motivated to do it because I knew how big of a project it was going to be, and I had to do it on my assembly table, and that took an act of God just to get off the assembly table too. It was huge. So right now, I'm just trying to get into the organizing stage. I built the table saw cabinet. I built the assembly table. I still got several cabinets along the back wall of my shop and a dual purpose cabinet for my sliding compound miter saw and my radial arm saw. I'm trying to just think of all kinds of storage solutions for that place because it's just a limited amount of room that I got to squeeze in a fully functional wood shop in, and it's just kind of difficult. So storage solutions are on my plate.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and those same things have been on my plate, and they just somehow keep getting pushed farther and further back. And so I think this year is going to have to be the year to get clamps up off the floor and off the miter saw station, get those put up on the wall. You look around and I just have stuff everywhere. So hopefully this year will be the year that I can actually get, my lumber rack finally up on the wall, get my wood up off the floor. I got probably 20 or 30 board feet, maybe more than that, of some maple I got from my grandfather that he probably had for 10 years just sitting on the floor. And one day when this place floods, because that's Murphy's Law, I'm gonna lose that because it's just sitting on the floor. So hopefully soon I'll get it up off the floor and up on the wall somewhere. So basically in my shop right now, like we were talking earlier, I got 1, 2, 3 tables. I got 3 tables sitting in the shop, and I got 1 more coming in tomorrow to work on. In fact, what I'm going to pick up tomorrow, client's giving me a pedestal base and wants me to rebuild the top for it. And in fact, the same client, I'm trying to wrap up her outdoor window shutters so I can get them to her tomorrow. That's been a procrastination for a few weeks now. And then finally, when I get motivated to start it, I turn around and my aunt's wanting a memorial box for my uncle, and so I, cracked that out in 2 days, and that's ungodly amount of work. I mean, I have a problem with overcomplicating everything. Always trying to put a new detail in it. And man, I just saw this as the opportunity to do details of all details. And I mean, yeah, it looks good, but it time consuming. And I posted some pictures and a video on Facebook and Instagram about doing coves on a table saw. And man, I didn't realize to do just a small box coves on a table saw take a couple hours. And,
oh yeah,
and everything's coated in sawdust after.
That's a lot of material to take out.
Yeah, and I got to the point that I'd set myself, and I said, maybe I'll just go a little more. Let me make it just a little more. So there went another hour of making more coves. And so hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll get the last tables wrapped up. In fact, one of them is a dining room table for my wife that has been a promise about 3.5 years ago. So I finally decided to pull the plunge and start that. And now it's been sitting in my shop for 6 weeks, half finished or half unfinished. I mean, I got the base put together, and in fact, already got some articles written up about it. I'm modeling it after Mark Spagnolo's his not so rustic outdoor table he did. I'm doing some similar designs to that and just change the thickness of some woods and some dimensions. That's the big one I have in the shop right now. Another one is a sofa table, and I've already, I think, released 3 or 4 different blog articles on the process of that, and then it kind of just took hiatus, and waiting for some router bits to come in to do some radiuses in the aprons, and those finally came in. So maybe I'll get to that again. Now it's getting too cold to finish in my shop, so if I don't get it done soon, I won't be able to get it done till spring. So
you're gonna have to get you a heater.
I know. Every time we go to Home Depot or Walmart, my wife's like, "There's a heater. It's only $15." I'm like, "Nah, I don't need that. I don't need that." Well,
until it's too cold to finish.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, I'm in the shop right now, and it was 72 degrees here today in Friendswood, Texas, just south of Houston. But now sun's gone down, and it's probably 40-something degrees out. So I'm sitting out here in the shop in a hoodie and pants and shoes and a beanie on my head. Texas weather. I'm ready to go somewhere where there's 4 seasons again.
I know. I'm ready to get back to summer or spring even, but
yeah.
Our states are notorious for you can have all 4 seasons in less than a day.
yeah, that's right. And then turn around and things happen with that, like that tornado that came through. And the day after that happened, I loaded up my truck full of odd and end tools of circular saws and chainsaws and everything else, and I headed up that way, and I spent a few days working with one of the churches up there, just clearing rubble.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think the day after it happened is when I headed up there. Well, let's see. I went to Dallas the day after it happened and got my father, and we got up that next morning. So 2 days after it happened, we were up there. And I think, what's the town just south of Moore? Newman? Norman. There's a church.
Soonerville.
I think, it was in Norman, and there's a church, and I think it was Journey Church or Journey Life or
mm-hmm. Yep, right off the interstate.
Yeah, we went to that. That's where we volunteered, and pretty much it was. I've been to Katrina. I've worked Katrina. I've worked a lot of disasters. But man, just seeing it in your own backyard, just the stone's throw from where I live, and it devastated it. And man, it's humbling to get up there, and you just realize like there's certain things that don't matter,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I was thinking while I was at work that day. The original path was headed straight for my neighborhood, and I didn't know when I got off work if I was going to be unburying my family or helping other families unbury theirs. It was, I don't know. It was just a really, I don't know. It was a really scary situation to be in for quite some time. That hour just seemed like it was a lifetime. So. It was about 6 blocks south of me. The debris ball was about 6 blocks south, and it totally just leveled the town to where it was not recognizable, and you could not find. You see landmarks all the time, and those were completely gone, so you didn't know where you were at half the time. So it was crazy. It was real crazy. But I didn't know you came and helped out. That's awesome. I thank you for that. I'm sure there were a lot of families that you helped volunteer for that were very appreciative of all that.
Yeah, the last lady I helped is a handicapped lady. She's literally right across the street from the elementary school. And all she cared about, out of all of her, she didn't care. Her house was gone. Nothing. All she cared about was finding some jewelry that she left on the side of the bathtub, and then her next door neighbor, it's 2 or 3 days later, they're going through their rubble and they find their cat, and their cat's still alive and healthy, and was just scared. So to see what people really value in life is completely different. And maybe one of these topics we'll talk about, sometime in the future is insurance for your shop. I mean, things like your wood shop are replaceable, but you want to take the precautions and get some insurance so they are replaceable, and you don't have to worry about grabbing those items on the way out when you try to get to some safety.
Yeah, especially if that's your livelihood. I mean, if you do woodworking for a living, you need to back it up with something, and insurance in a natural disaster like that is the only way to do it, because there's no way you're taking that crap to the cellar with you.
Oh, yeah, no. I think the lightest thing I have in here is probably my lathe, and my lathe is probably 75 pounds at least. And everything else, there ain't no way I'm picking up and taking out of here. So, all right, well, so we've talked about what's going on in our shops. We've done an introduction. So from here, I think we've been going about 26 minutes or so. We have a email, and it's Woodshop 101podcast@gmail.com. You can go ahead and shoot us some emails, ask us some questions. We'll try to answer your questions through email, and then the select few that we pick we'll put on the show, and we'll let you know. But we really encourage you. This show really is about you guys and getting information and passing along information that you desire to hear about. So we really encourage for you to send us an email. You can also call our Skype name at Woodshop 101 Podcast. And we got a voicemail set up. You can go ahead and leave us a voicemail, and we'll listen to that and try to get you some answers out. You can reach us on any of the social media outlooks. I think right now we got Facebook set up, and we got Twitter set up. And then we'll, as this thing evolves, we'll see about getting some other things set up. I'm not big into social media outside of Facebook, so I'm not sure how to operate most of those.
I can help you out a little bit.
So before we go ahead and sign off, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, because this is the first episode, it's mainly of an introductory standpoint. So I think we've got a lot of the points across that we want to get to people. I want to let them know, let you all know that this is not something that's new. I mean, an audio podcast they've been out a long time. There's very few woodworking ones, like the ones that Jeremy mentioned not too long ago. So we hope to bring a special dynamic to this podcast that you might not find on any other ones. So the encouragement of emails and voicemails, things of that nature, to get the subjects rolling and get questions answered as much as possible. I highly encourage you all to send us those questions, because there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Absolutely.
We have had our fair share of our own stupid questions, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I still have them.
So even the experts, they come across those themselves needing answered. So I highly encourage you to send us emails, voicemails, and we will do our best to answer any questions that you guys have. That is what this podcast is all about. It's sharing, caring, and basically having a good time. I mean, woodworking should be fun for everyone, from the amateur to the professional, and this is just a great outlet to get it done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is, basically it's add something else to my plate, and I'm sure it's add something else to your plate. But it's a passion that we both enjoy, and, hopefully we can get some emails in and be able to answer some people's questions.
Definitely. I can easily set aside an hour. No big deal for me.
Oh, yeah. So we're not real sure what the schedule is going to be like. Hopefully shoot for about every 2 weeks. The first few episodes will be kind of varied in spacing. It all depends on how long it takes for iTunes to get our initial episode processed and put up on iTunes, and then we can get out the link for for everybody else, so you can subscribe to it between iTunes or RSS feeds, or however you feel like you want to do that. All right, Drew, so as we sign off, do you want to go ahead and let them know how they can contact you if they want to contact you outside of the audio podcast?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've got several outlets that you can find me at. My main one is my website. It's rhwoodshop.com. That has been completely revamped as of late as well, so it's a very interactive site. You can find just about anything you want, including some Rockin' H swag. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Rockin' H Woodshop or RH Woodshop, or even my name, Drew Short, and you'll be able to find me there pretty easily. You can also send me emails to rhwoodshop@gmail.com if you just want to single me out. Otherwise, it's I have my YouTube channel as well, and you can do the same searches for that. But that's pretty much all the outlets to find me.
All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with me, you can send me an email at countrysideworkshop@gmail.com. You can head over to my website, www.countrysideworkshop.com. And as well, that's being revamped as we speak, making a spot for this audio podcast to be hosted. That alone, doing all the work myself, is killing me on time. You can find me on Facebook at Countryside Workshop. You can look me up, Jeremy Crawford. Find me on there. I'm on Twitter. I think it's Countryside WS. Instagram, I'm not sure what that username is. I'll put that down in the description. And then I'm on Pinterest and all those others. I'm not really sure how to operate.
I forgot to mention those too.
But I'm out there. I just figure out how to operate them one day. You can find me on Twitter at Countryside WS. Once a week or whatever that I decide to look at Twitter, that I'll see your question. But the best way to get a hold of me is probably email. You can find me on YouTube, Countryside Workshop, or find me on Facebook. Those are probably my three main outlets that I watch just about every day. So other than that, we will talk to you next time.
All right, Jeremy, I had a good time, man. We'll talk to you guys next time we're on.
All right, bye.